but she would hear me, and as well I would hear her. The headphone is for me to hear.
That's important because that's going to
You just
minimize
need
the
to
traffic
turn
sound
off.
from her to her.
Just need to be turned off properly.
That will,
Um,
how would that minimize the traffic sound to her?
where's the audio?
I'm
Because the sound is.
sensitive, but is only hearing.
Hello, Mr. Cooper?
I will hear you. All right, okay. All right,
I
thanks
need
much.
to mute something here, so I don't think it's this.
Why they do that? So I'll do it right away, right?
Hold on there. Shanice, can you come get the phone off me, please?
Yes.
Kish? A shaker? Oh, tell some I hear him loud and clear, you know. Hello?
Yes, let me
I'm
say
hearing him
something.
loud
So,
and clear. You
Take the
the,
hear?
phone away though because you might be
I'm
hearing.
hearing him, but and you guys are
excellent.
loud and
All
clear.
right,
I'm just
thanks.
trying to sort out on my end, but we're hearing him loud and clear.
You're going to need to turn off your phone.
Let's turn on the volume.
Oh yeah, man, we're hearing him loud and clear over here. So, all right,
Let's cancel call. This call
all
is
right,
coming.
no problem. I'm not sure if he can hear me. I don't may I try to figure out, cause may I try to talk to the mic. Yeah, hear me? May I try to talk to him? Mic, I'm not hear. Oh, all right, may I try again?
Mute, mute. Are you going to sit like that with your hand on it? Mute your mic, please.
Um, oh, crap, my father gone. You can come here, please. You're busy. Come back. Bombard. They don't allow no for go and me have a program now. Nobody in an engineer. But the show starting in like 2 minutes. So what me fi do? Nobody know did it. I would have alone fucker for 2 hours no gone on the road, bro. Like that not even make no sense.
You hear me? No, the way you're looking, I don't think you can hear me. All right. So asking Mr. Wisdom to link up, don't it?
Mr. Cooper, can you hear us? Mr. Cooper, can you hear us, please? Not hearing us, no. Him not hear you. All right. Where's Zoom there? Where's Zoom there now? Zoom, 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 zoom. Have a care back across. Zoom. They're not hearing us at all.
I'm asking if you're unmuted there.
We're not here from film side. We know what going on so.
Okay.
Optional mute is out there now. Like last time. Hang on, she got the telephone now, hold on. Hello. If
Yeah, but me understand what I say, but somebody supposed to get here tell me say if it's an or in our
So you were hearing her.
we get the one we get chance that this
Nor destruction that wasted that
and
day.
when difficult
The time has just come.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside. Every morning, I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. So when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to this, I'm blessed, oh man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can.
I'm unmuted now. Unmuted now.
all right. Can you hear him? Can you hear the engineer? Is the engineer speaking? The engineer now?
Can you hear?
1, 2, 3, 4. Is he hearing
I'm
me?
hearing Kashima.
Okay, he hear me. So hear me. Hold on. Look. What? This is what. Can you hear me now?
I'm hearing now.
Because you mute this. Don't mute this. You mute it.
I'm hearing you now.
All right. I'm over here, Kashima now. Right? You heard the radio station. All right.
Sometimes I'm lost and far from home, but I'll find my way. I follow my heart, I know I'll be found someday. While I'm lost, I learn and live. What do you say? Let's have a good time until that day. Oh, every morning, I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. So when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to this, I'm blessed, oh man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can.
Want to say big up to the entire team. Like I said, it's all about season 2 of Road to Success, The Journey, a feature inside the Easy Skanking that is geared to inspire, uplift, educate, motivate, and entertain. And starting right about now, today, of course, we journey with Kingsley Cooper, CD, Chairman of Pulse Investments Limited. Of course, as head of Pulse, Mr. Cooper established a number of innovations and firsts for Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. These include the Caribbean Model Search, Caribbean Fashion Week, the Super Jam Concert Series, the Lifestyle TV program Caribbean Fashion Weekly, and the CMS reality TV show. Mr. Cooper, welcome to the Easy Skanking.
Such a pleasure to be with you, Kashima.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for agreeing to take us on your journey and sharing your rich success story that is absolutely fitting for Black History Month.
Thank you for that, because it is so important for us to, let all our fellow Jamaicans and all the Black folks around the world be part of a shared experience of success. So we all know what it is that we can achieve, and never to assume that there's anything we can't do.
Absolutely. And I really want to start today by getting some insights by going to the foundation a bit. What was it like for you growing up as a child and having your siblings and big sister, Dr. Cooper? What was that like?
It was great. I had a very happy childhood. My parents, one parent was a school teacher, and the other was what the English people call a merchant tailor. He worked in England for a while. Lots of fun, very, very religious family. Very into school, of course, with a school teacher mother. But for me, I played every sport. I was involved in all kinds of creative enterprises. I was an artist. Um, uh, did literally everything, and so family was great. My cousins and my sister, and then later on Sister Donnet, my younger sister. They went to St. Hughes. I went to KC, and it was really quite amazing. And we weren't rich by any means, but we didn't want for anything, and it was a very good childhood, very very happy childhood.
And how would you describe your college years? Because at the University of the West Indies, you studied law. So give us some insights as it relates to what sort of person were you as young adults?
I think I was more engaged in extracurricular activities than anything else at university. I mean, high school was when I really did a lot of schoolwork. I was at KC as head boy and so on. You sort of focused a lot on academics as well as everything else. But at university, it was Director Guild Press, the Law Journal, the magazine for the university. I started my sound system on Cape Hill campus in Barbados and continued on the Mona campus when we came back for law school, having done the degree course in Barbados. And it was lots of fun. Those were really great, great fun years. Of course, we did manage to do some law between all of that. But yeah, it was fun, and I realized that I had to live my life engaged in creative pursuits. I had to be involved in creative business, and Pulse was a natural result of all of that.
Okay, so basically, because you understood from that age that you needed to be in the arts and with the creative side, would you then say that realization is what propelled you into opening Pulse Modeling Agency in 1980?
Yes, I always felt that you shouldn't sort of go to work in the daytime and then in the evenings you'd enjoy your life, and on the weekends. I felt that you should enjoy your life all the time. So I think you should work at, just like you are, as you in the studio having a great time. You should
True.
always be working at what you enjoy. And so Pulse was. I mean, if I had to study again at university level, certainly would do law again, because I think law is a great foundation, because it's been a wonderful resource for me in terms of guidance in business. But in terms of everyday work, I knew I was not going to be a practicing attorney for very long. I practiced for 5 years. And so I knew it was going to be something like a Pulse. Pulse was ended up being the embodiment of what I would do. But once it involved creative business, and once it was something that you could turn into successful business, because of course when we started the things that we did, they didn't exist before. So not only did you have to create, but you also had to innovate and develop structure and all of that, because there were no precedents around. If you want to if you want to open a bank today, you can find tons of people in the banking sector who can help you in terms of man the operation and tell you how to do it and what to do. When we started, there was nobody to advise us, so we had to just do it.
From scratch. But you know what I want to find out though, how were your parents and family supportive of this move? Because as a teacher mom and being stringent on education, and not many persons are able to understand creatives, how did your family and friends perceive your notion to say start a modeling agency after just using your law degree for 5 years?
That's an interesting question because by that time my mom had died. She passed in when I was at university in Barbados. But my
Oh.
father was still alive. But none of my decisions made my parents happy. I mean, studying law, for example, didn't make them happy. They're
Oh
devout
wow.
Seventh Day Adventists, and they don't believe in lawyers.
Mhm. Okay.
They think that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, that passage from the scripture, than for let's say for a rich man to go to heaven, but in my case
Mm-hmm.
for a lawyer to tread the straight and narrow. So they weren't so keen on law, and they were even less keen, or my father was less keen on the entertainment business because one of the things about the Seventh Day Adventist Church, I don't know if it's the same now, but when I used to go to church as a teenager, because I I remember in high school and maybe fourth form or so getting a plum role in a play, and they used to have rehearsals on a Saturday, and I said, it's true. I mean, every year I'd miss the plum role because I'd have to go to church.
Church.
And
Mm-hmm.
at that particular year, I said, it is true. I'm going to do this role. I'm going to do this role in the play, uh, which I did. And so I stopped going to church then. But that kind of Seventh Day Adventist faith, there were so many things you could not do, which I had a little challenge with. The idea of playing music at bars and consuming alcohol and any of those riotous things,
Mm-hmm.
were not a part of God's plan as far as my father was concerned. And of course, the idea of studying law for how many years and then saying you're going to open a grooming school or a model agency, it just sounded ridiculous to everybody. And the thing is, there was no concept of those things in Jamaica at the time. This is
Mm-hmm.
41 years ago. So that we could even have models. What's a model? What you mean you're going to have a modeling? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's it didn't find favor with too many people, and the people who thought they understood just chuckled because they felt I just wanted to have some more fun, have all these parties with all these young
Girls
women
and yeah.
and playing. So it took a while for people to understand that I thought it was a serious undertaking, and I thought it's something that we could actually accomplish and make a success of. And of course, you start out doing it because, as I said, these are things I wanted to do. But then after a while, you realize that it's not enough just to do it. It must now be successful, and it must now be successful business. Because if it doesn't make money, it's not sustainable. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's not sustainable, you can't continue doing it. So we had to convert it not just into a success in the sense that you could find models who would become, international stars, but also sustain it in the sense that it was a profitable operation. You could pay your bills, and then it's something that you could maintain.
Share some of the challenges that you experienced, because like you mentioned, it wasn't something that was done before, and unlike now where we can consult Google or YouTube for like a lot of things and garner information like you outlined earlier, there wasn't anywhere you could go for information. And I'm sure with persons chuckling, not believing, what kept you going and how did you handle challenges at that point?
Well, I never really had any issue with anybody's opinion.
Mm.
The truth of the matter is, I know what I wanted to do, and nobody could move me from that path because I was not going to go and live a life to satisfy anyone. I was going to live a life to satisfy myself because it's my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so that part of it, didn't, I just mention it because, of course, it's a reality in the sense that, for example, I remember once having some financial problems because had owed a bank some money, and things were not going so well at that time, and the head of the bank said, Mr. Cooper, I can't really help you, because I live in the real world, and all she was trying to say is that I am living in this fantasy land where I think that you can have models and all of these things, and she know that not don't go so. And so skepticism was one of the big hurdles, and also, as you said, lack of information. There's no Google, there's no nothing. I remember when we started out, we didn't even know the nuances and the sort of key aspects of being a successful model. We thought a beautiful woman would be, so for example, for our first winner of the model search in 80 would have been maybe 82 or 81, went to Paris, and she was only 5'7", and we didn't know, and so we thought here we're going to have our first big star, and then the market said no, she's too short. And so we started to build relationships in Paris, because we felt Paris was the epicenter of the fashion industry. At the time, that was our view, which it was in a sense creatively, but not necessarily from a business standpoint. New York has always been the biggest market and the strongest market. But in any event, we went to the French embassy here and spoke with the trade commissioner, and they hooked us up with the fashion industry people in Paris. I remember one year going with Kimberly Mays when she won, which would have been in about 85, or 87 rather. And, we were like the official representatives for Jamaica and the Caribbean for this major event that they had in Paris, which was like a world, like the Olympics of fashion. It was on the river, and they had to build a runway, massive runway in the river, and it was quite a spectacle. And we arrived, and we were like the official representatives from the Caribbean. And, all the French people were on the streets because they couldn't get in, of course, and but they had big screens showing the event, and we'd walk through the crowd in the red carpet and so on, and it was quite amazing coming from Jamaica, because this whole world was not something we're familiar with here, but those are good connections. We found the trade route through the French embassy to learn about the fashion industry, go to Pret-a-Porter, meet people in the fashion industry, both on the design side as well as the model side, the model agency side. And that's how we learned. And from that, we began to understand what it was that the market was looking for. And we were able to, produce, starting with Kimberly Mays, and a little before that, Alter Leg to a lesser extent, because she was basically Essence magazine, whereas Kimberly was in several markets and several different brands that she worked for as a successful model. And then we built from there, and it just exploded, Lloyd Samuels, Justine Willoughby, Romeo Gordon, Julian Samuels, Lincoln Winter, later on people like Lorraine Barrett and Carla Campbell and Janelle McKenzie and Jenny Williams, and it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
Now we have Alicia Burke and some others, Michael Simone Williams, and Daniela Davis has just been selected for the new Gucci campaign. Nadine Willis was the first black model to be the main talent in a global Gucci campaign back in 2002. Now, history is repeating itself with Daniela Davis just being selected for Gucci, main Gucci campaign again. So, it's interesting, but,
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, it's changed the whole. I mean, nowadays people take it for granted, every day you see pictures of models, not just from Pulse, but from other agencies as well, who are doing well, and people just, especially if you're born in this time, it just seems like a normal thing. But back then, it was quite amazing.
And you would have basically changed the lives of so many women. and in doing so also help to change the narrative of what beauty is, because through Pulse you have provided a platform where black women can strut their stuff and feel proud and feel bold and confident in who they are. When you started out, was that your initial intent to say create a platform for black women? Did you look at it that way?
Well, that was part of it. We certainly wanted to make a difference, and you. I don't know to what extent it is still prevalent, but there was a concept of beauty back then that didn't include black women who did not look like white women. If you had, if you were dark skinned but you had Caucasian features or Indian features or Syrian features, then that was a kind of acceptable despite the fact that you're black. No, and even black people didn't have any regard for black people in terms of how we looked. And through that vehicle, we were able to show the best, to show that beauty existed fundamentally in all women, and especially in the case of Jamaica, where so many of us are black, in black women. And what people had as a pre-assumed concept of beauty wasn't really so. And so when you have someone like Alois Samuels or Janelle Williams, or these black women who are not just dark skinned but black in terms of what we perceive as black features, doing so well.
Mr. Cooper, I'm going to break there just to go to Cashpot, but when we come back, absolutely, we're going to be delving a little further, because this is definitely, like I said, in celebration of Black History Month, this conversation is absolutely fitting and relevant. So I want to say to our listeners now, listen up to your top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and Cashpot lunchtime draws coming up next.
You are what you drink. Your premium. Enjoy Heineken specials at your favorite bars. Drink responsibly. Socialize responsibly. The time by Heineken is
12:59.
When me use Island Fresh with aloe vera, it make me skin feel so much smoother. So if you want to feel better and smell fresher, use Island Fresh with aloe vera.
manufactured by Island Products, 934-0666.
The time is...
It is now 1 o'clock. We're standing by for your lunchtime draws, your top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and Cashpot draws.
Reggae Radio, Irie FM.
Reggae in the morning, reggae in the evening, reggae at night time on Irie Radio. Reggae in the morning, reggae in the evening, reggae at
Welcome to the official live drawing of the Supreme Ventures Lottery Games. This could be your lucky day. Get your tickets out and let the games begin.
Good afternoon. It is Thursday, February 11, 2021. I'm Lisa and welcome to this afternoon's live Supreme Ventures game draw. Now, before we begin, here's a quick look at the mid-morning winning numbers. And remember, all Supreme Ventures live draws are supervised by the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission and observed by the independent auditing firm PwC. And now let's put some money in your top draw. This afternoon's jackpot is $400,000. Here are your winning numbers. Good luck. The first winning top draw number for this afternoon is 15. The second winning top draw number is 19.
What?
Here comes lucky number 7. Now, if you want to win the jackpot of $400,000, you're going to need 11. The final top draw number is 5. And now let's pick your play with our dollars game. I hope you're feeling lucky. Your winning numbers are coming right down. Starting off our dollars game this afternoon is 16. Following 16, we have 14. Your third winning dollars number is 18. And 18 is followed by 35. Here comes ball 32. And making its way down is number 5. We're gonna double it up to number 10. Now your next winning dollars number 4 this afternoon is, here it comes, it's 31. And 26 follows. Coming down is lucky number 7. And 23 is next. Ending our dollars game this afternoon is number 8. And now for some easy winnings with our Pick 2 game. So here goes. Your winning Pick 2 numbers are coming up. And this afternoon's first winning Pick 2 number is 19. The second winning Pick 2 number is 3. So again, 19 and 3 are your winning Pick 2 numbers. And up next, you can play it 3 ways. It's Pick 3. The first winning Pick 3 number is number 9. Your second winning Pick 3 number for this afternoon is 0. And the third and final winning Pick 3 number is 2. So again, 9, 0, and 2 are your winning Pick 3 numbers. Now let's turn up the winnings with Pick 4. The first winning Pick 4 number that's number 3. Your second winning Pick 4 number is 9. Here comes the third winning number. What will it be? It's 0. And finally, here it comes. That's number 8. So again, your winning Pick 4 numbers are 3, 9, 0, and 8. Now it's easy for win, so let's heat things up with Hot Pick. Here we go. And this afternoon's winning Hot Pick number is 10. Congratulations to all Hot Pick winners. Again, your winning number is 10. And stay tuned. The Mega Ball draw will be done for both Hot Pick and Cash Pot. And remember, for every $10 bet, you will win an additional $300 for Hot Pick and $700 for Cash Pot when the Mega Ball is selected. And Cash Pot, bigger pot, even bigger. Players can now win $305 for every $10 winning Cash Pot bet, so catch the winnings while it lasts. Let's get ready to play our Cash Pot game for Thursday, February 11, 2021. Now you live to play it, but can you win it? Get ready to be a big Cash Pot winner, and let's see what this afternoon's winning Cash Pot number will be. Good luck. And this afternoon's winning Cash Pot number is 31. Congratulations to all Cash Pot winners. Again, your winning number is 31. It's now time for some mega winnings. Good luck. And the Mega Ball was selected to go mega 6 times per day for more chances to win big. So again, your winning Cash Pot number is 31. The lucky mark is Lizard. And the Mega Ball was selected for both Cash Pot and Hot Pick. And remember, for every $10 Cash Pot bet, it now gives you $305. Yes, $305. So yes, a night. So make sure you try to catch the winnings. And now let's take a look at this afternoon's winning numbers. And of course, congratulations to everyone who won. And please join us again at 3 p.m. for more games you love to play. I'm Lisa. Be kind to one another and have a supreme afternoon.
Hope you were a big winner. Play your favorite Supreme Ventures games every day and tune in for our live draw 6 times a day at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8:25 p.m. on this station. Supreme Ventures, making winners every day.
That was your lunchtime top draw dollars, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, hot pick, and cash pot draws. Congratulations to all of today's winners. Join us again at 3 p.m. for another chance to win in hot pick and cash pot special pot draws. If you're just joining us, it's all about Road to Success, the journey. And today we journey with Kingsley Cooper, CD, of course, chairman of Pulse Investments. Now, Mr. Cooper, before the break, we were talking about a very important point where part of starting Pulse modeling agency, you wanted to be different, and part of being different was to provide a space for Black women. And you're talking about Lois Samuels, Danielle Davis before we had gone to Cashpot. So we'll just continue the conversation there.
Yeah, man. So absolutely, there were a number of models who were distinctly African in look. And in Jamaica, as I said before, we generally accepted as beautiful Black women who had Caucasian or Indian or similar kinds of features, but not so much Black women with African features. And so one of the things that changed fundamentally and forever was the fact that you now had women who were clearly African, who were recognized globally as beautiful by virtue of their success through Pulse in the international model market. And so things started to change. Your average black woman could now see these images and see herself and recognize that not only is she beautiful, but that it is accepted internationally that she is beautiful. And so we could move past local stereotypes and it made a world of difference in terms of self-esteem, in terms of people being young people being willing to come forward and to try, try to become international stars, knowing that being black was not an issue. Although, of course, we recognize that globally things are always a challenge for black people.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, where there is a strong enough talent, you can overcome all of those hurdles and become very successful.
And Pulse would have seen several generations of models who have graced the cover of international magazines as well. I mean, Essence,
Sure,
Vogue,
sure.
Esquire, GQ, and you mentioned Gucci with Alicia Burke and also Tom Ford and countless others. Now, what do you look for when you go in search of, your next top model per se?
It's easy to do and difficult to say. I mean, you have the basics of modeling. You want somebody who, if you're looking for the mainstream part of the market, because of course nowadays there are all kinds of special parts of the market. Full figure models and so on. But mainstream, you're looking for somebody who is slim, slim to medium. You're looking for somebody who is about 5'9", preferably about 5'10", for women certainly between 5'10" and 6 foot. And it is possible to be too tall as a model as well, because people didn't realize that, everybody else felt the taller the better. But so you want to land somewhere between 5'10" and 6 foot ideally for a woman. But anybody over 5'9" has a good opportunity. So you have those kind of basic things, size, height, that kind of thing. But then when it comes to look now, features, you see a model and you know that that person is, it's because, somebody will see an agent in New York might say, oh, she's so beautiful. And it's not beauty in the traditional way that the average person would see beauty. They're seeing something else in terms of what's going to make her special, what's going to make her stand out, what's going to make clients gravitate towards her, and the photographers, and so it's after a while, because when we started, we weren't always on target, you know. Um, and the truth of the matter is that nobody is always on target. Because we have had even models, Lois Samuels, I took Lois Samuels to every agency almost in the world between Paris, London, and New York, until Beth Ann Hardison, a black woman, signed her in New York. And even with Beth Ann, she was languishing until she was selected for that landmark Calvin Klein campaign. And that carried us, took off from there. She was on the cover of she was the first Caribbean girl to be on the cover of Vogue. And it's just amazing how sometimes people can err, but it's really a matter of that special thing, that X factors. Eileen Ford used to say that you recognize in a model that makes them special and makes them stand out and makes it work as a kind of look that the market will take. I mean, there are looks that everybody will agree on, and then there are some that only some people see. So
And your job, just listening to you talk, it is a very difficult job, because at some point you would have to say to somebody, you're too fat or you're too tall, or you're not cut out for this. What would you consider the hardest part of your job? And these are conversations that can really scar persons if you don't know how to convey the information.
you know what though, you're right. And I think the biggest challenge is when someone is determined to succeed. You know, some girl, for example, who is 5'4" or 5'3", and she's made up her mind that she's going to be a model. She's going to be on the cover of Vogue, and nobody can stop her. You know, her family can't stop her, her friends can't, and Kingsley Cooper can't stop her neither. So if I say no, you know, you're really too short for the market, no, she is going to go for it. And so it's really hard to deal with a situation like that when you feel 99.999% certain that there is no way this person is going to succeed. But the international model agency community have discovered a brilliant way to deal with that whole situation. Their response, and this is a standard response, all of them, you're absolutely beautiful, but you're just not right for us. And that is their response. So nobody feels that, you know, they're not
Yeah.
considered beautiful, but you're just not right for us. And that
Yes,
is
because
how
it's
they
the
deal with it.
whole.
So
No, in 2001, you launched the first Caribbean Fashion Week show to promote, rising Caribbean fashion designers and models that not only attracted designers and models from the Caribbean but also the US and the UK. What are what ethics are important for people in the fashion industry?
well, you want designers who create great original clothing, or as you know, they say there's nothing new under the sun, but at least you have to present it in a fresh way, and the lines must work and it must look great. It can't just be, you know, your everyday person who wants to be a designer but really don't have that much talent. So that's what you're looking for here. And it doesn't have to be established talent, it can be emerging talent. But you're looking for somebody with something to really offer. And what has been the greatest challenge for us at Pulse has been to find designers who are serious about business, fashion as a business. Because going back to the point I made earlier, if it's not financially successful, if it's not profitable, it's not sustainable. And so, you know, for example, in New York, when you have New York Fashion Week, the IMG Group, who do New York Fashion Week, provide a platform. They provide a space in the tents, and the designers come in and they pay a fee to use the space. And I guess it comes complete with sound and lights and runway and so on. But the designers then pay for their stylists and their hair, their makeup, their models, everything is on the designer. And so it's a real business. If the designer does not have the budget to do that, nothing happens. And obviously, you're not going to have the budget unless you have a big investor who believes in your vision and your talent, or you're a successful designer and you have been successful for a while. So the problem in the Caribbean is that you don't have that many designers who are really serious, successful business people, right? Who can afford to invest in their own marketing at that level. So that has been our biggest challenge. And whereas we have in the past we have been able to get governments through their development agencies, whether it's like a JAMPRO or similar organization in Barbados or Trinidad, to invest in their designers, or we'll be able to get sponsors to cover some of the costs of the production and so on. That's how we've been able to afford to launch these major events. Because when you have 200-300 people traveling, as we did in the early days of CFW, and you know, think about the accommodations, think about we brought people from Lagos not last year but the year before. Last year was COVID, but one ticket, these are the best designers in Africa. So everybody is traveling business class, you know, and one ticket is 10, 15,000 US dollars, you know. So you just imagine when you're moving a group at that rate. And so it really has to make business sense. And so, you know, we need our designers to become more serious business people, And of course, there are all kinds of factors at play. So it's easier said than done, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Absolutely.
But that is kind of the direction in which fashion needs to go. And as one of the things we were looking to do with Africa, which was to have that exchange where our designers could now access the markets in Africa, which are in some places very lucrative markets. If you're in Nigeria, for example, you don't have to put one foot outside of Nigeria because in Lagos you have so many wealthy Nigerians with tons and tons of oil money to spend. So,
Mm-hmm.
if we could have access to some of those markets, that would help our designers.
And I'm happy that you touch on the business element of things because Pulse core activity is promoting talent in fashion and entertainment industry. And over the years, the company has expanded, into television, event production, and real estate. Expanding your business can definitely be a risky and scary venture. However, how do you know when it is the right time to expand your business operations?
Well, with us, I have to now say that our core is no longer fashion or modeling. I mean, modeling is
Entertainment.
about less than 10% of our business now. But the fact is that we've been developing our real estate business now for a long time. I acquired Trafalgar Road in 1989 and Villerenay in 1994. It's just that because, unlike some of our fellow, um, business titans and conglomerates, we didn't have the resources to develop a 9-acre Villerenay just like that. Boom. I mean, it is a multi-billion-dollar project. So we had to start and build over time, and what we're doing. I mean, just to acquire was a big challenge, and then thereafter, we had to take our time, and they talk about sweat equity, so lots of sweat and lots of time, and then we build. Once you start to build on anything, if you believe in it, and real estate to me is a no-brainer because I've always been engaged in real estate from even before Pulse. As an
Mm-hmm.
individual, I used to buy property, and that was one of the ways I was able to even afford to start Pulse. Because the thing with real estate is that you can always borrow money against it, so you can always get access to capital. And so real estate is key for us, but we built it over time. And now we've just gotten to the point where it's very obvious what we have done. Because even for the last 10, 15 years, rental income, for example, has been key for us because it means that if you know for every month you're going to collect $6 million or $10 million or whatever it is from real estate, you know that you can pay the light bill and the staff and
Mm-hmm.
the various things that are essential to keep your business going. And then you can build from there. You have money to invest and expand. So it really is about diversification. It's about building having a solid foundation, building the base, and then growing from there. And so when it's the right time, when it's the right time, because there's no point say you're going to do $1 billion project if you don't have access to $1 billion. If you only have
Mm-hmm.
access to 100 million, you can't do the billion. So it's as you grow, you know when you can move into this or move into that. Sometimes you can move faster. Sometimes you have to wait. And so it's just business, and it's the same for every business. But of course, some people are a little bit more fortunate. Some persons are born with big business and with big deep pockets, and others are born with nothing and start from zero, and you have to build from there.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of building, talk to us about Pulse Villas. Where are you with that project? I know 2019, you mentioned 2020, some work will be done. Now we're in 2021, and especially in light of COVID-19.
Well, we continue to property development. I mean, we had started our suites at Villarnay in 2019. Um, Even before that, because a lot of it is restoration and it's a very major refurbishing. And so that aspect is basically done now. We are, and COVID is a time when you have to quietly do the things you can do. You know, there are lots
Mm-hmm.
of things that you can't do. So you just leave those alone, and the things that you can do, you do them quietly. And you have to be thinking about what is going to be around, what is going to work post COVID. So you prepare for that. So when the post COVID comes, you're not starting from scratch. Um, and so we're on our next phase, which is the Pulse Homes, which is 33 bedroom, 3 and 2 bedroom homes,
Nice.
and about 6 acres of the Villarnite property. But we're waiting on all the final approvals now to actually start construction. That is like a $1.5 billion project, and we believe in real estate. We believe in real estate expansion. You make money with real estate in two, three different ways. You can build and sell, you can build and keep, and then you earn from rental income, or you can keep and earn from gains in investment property, because property values just keep going up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's really a solid foundation that I recommend to anyone, whether it is just a family home or an investment for a second home or a business in terms of development, real estate development. It certainly is a good way to go.
And just listening to you talk, I can hear you creating your generational wealth, and that is something that is absolutely important, especially among Black families. Over the years, we see that you've been grooming your very own daughter, Safia, and to the point now where she has taken over as CEO, and you are chairman. how how do you build generational wealth, and especially given the reality that a lot of families face, right? Some may be trying to get out of debt, others may be pursuing other financial goals, but how do you build generational health wealth?
That was so interesting to hear you ask that question and to raise that issue, because to me that is the most important issue of all. Um, we don't build institutions as Black people, and not sufficiently anyway, and certainly not business institutions. Because when you're going to church and you're growing up as a child, they tell you love of money is the root of all evil, and it
Mm-hmm.
turns it makes people feel guilty if you want to have money. When you're certain races, when you aspire to owning everything, and you might have one hotel and you want to have 50 hotels, and you want 100 hotels. They say you're a business mogul. If you're the average Black man and you have one house, they try to buy another one, they say you're greedy. Now, we can't buy into any of that foolishness. We have to
Mm-hmm.
think in terms of what we can do with resources, and we need to think in terms of building resources. It's very important to me that we think about building resources that will be around long after we are gone. And so you have to start. It works by starting up with a vision that takes you way beyond yourself, beyond your lifetime, beyond the lifetime of your children. And you think in terms of something that can endure, and that becomes beneficial not just to yourself and your family and your children's children, but to many others, both from a point of view of inspiration, motivation, as well as actual financial benefit, because either it's going to employ other people or they can invest in it. I mean, if you invest in Pulse, if you bought Pulse shares, for example, and let it not be said I'm here promoting Pulse shares on your show, but if you bought Pulse shares 5 years ago, it is now worth 3,000 odd times what it was worth 5 years ago. So
Wow.
you just imagine if you had $1 million, you would be a billionaire today if you had put $1 million into Pulse, by buying Pulse stock. And I say to say that we have to think in terms of investment, we have to think in terms of we have to see the long view and the long vision, and we have to act accordingly. Because when you're living for yourself and your generation only, you then when you earn the money, you can afford to go on a vacation every weekend. You can buy the Rolex watch, and you can buy whatever it is, and you can party every night and drink Don Perignon. When you're thinking in terms of the long view, and you're thinking in terms of building something that's going to last, then, property I bought in 89 or 94, you have to develop that. And it takes a lot of money and a lot of time if you're starting with nothing. So you have to reinvest, keep reinvesting, and thinking in terms of what is going to last. So it's not just the building that's going to last, it's the company and the structure and everything, but you have to be thinking in terms of how you build all of that and build it in such a way that when you're gone, it will still continue and it will grow. So you're going to need the financial resources, you're going to need the structure, and you're going to need the human resources to do it. Safia is one of two managing directors at Pulse. The other is Romeo Gordon. Romeo is responsible for fashion and television and the model agency. Safia is responsible for property and hospitality. I'm very proud of her and of Romeo as well and what they've been able to do. And I expect them to do quite a lot more. And then for them to start to groom a even larger team of really talented people who can help them both in terms of what they are doing now as well as in terms of when we expand, as we plan to keep expanding, as we look to building intergenerational wealth and building institutions, a financial institution that will last beyond ourselves.
Wow. Just listening to you talk, I realized that there is an issue with financial literacy among our people. And a lot of it sometimes also have to do with our mindset and our thinking and our approach. As someone who is successful and business savvy, what piece of advice would you give to, the ordinary Jamaican persons in general, or listeners locally and internationally who are on their very own journey to attaining success, but need to understand the importance of financial literacy and the mindset when it comes on to being business savvy and thinking ahead and making the right moves?
First of all, I'd say buy real estate. Buy real estate because, save first of all, because you can't buy with nothing. So save, accumulate wealth, spend as little as you have to, and accumulate savings. Buy real estate because even if it's not, you make a mistake and you buy something in a particular location which might not be ideal, you can always sell it back and use that money to buy something better somewhere else. Of course, it's always good to do the best thing at the first time, as opposed to having to. But the point is, real estate is the best way to store wealth and accumulate wealth because it's always going to be there. And they don't, as one banker told me many years ago, they don't make any more land. Whatever land is there, that's what there is. There's not going to be any more. And then also a little diversification. Maybe buy some stock, find a good company that you believe in, that you have faith in, and that has been solid and doing well in terms of appreciation. Some companies grow slowly because they are maybe huge, others grow faster. Again, big companies also grow fast, but some of the smaller companies grow faster too because of their growth trajectory. Maybe buy some stock, but real estate to me number one. Right stock also, because you want it not only to save, but to save in assets that grow in value. So you're both saving and growing at the same time. And so that is a good foundation. And after a while now you can use one property to help acquire another one and so on, and you can start to rent and collect rent, which helps you with your expenses, and you manage it as you go along. But the idea is to build something that's solid and have a little bit of diversity, so if one thing goes down, everything don't go down, and you have something over time. And don't think about a quick fix all the time. Think in terms of something that is going to build steadily, slowly, and is sustainable. I mean, it don't have to be slow, quite frankly, because the faster the better. But it must be fast because it is a flash in the pan. It must be fast because it's that good, you know. But it's more important to be steady and sustainable than to be fast and to be solid most of all.
Well, let's look now at Kingsley Cooper, the promoter, right? Now, through Reggae Super Jam, you have staged a series of live stage show events, giving patrons quality over quantity with the likes of Beres Hammond, Steel Pulse, Dennis Brown, Leroy Sibbles, Chalice, Black Uhuru, Gregory Isaacs, and Peter Tosh. Take us back to this period of your life and perhaps a moment that resonates with you to this very day when you reminisce and think about Reggae Super Jam.
Well, those were the most exciting years because although I'm so associated with fashion, music is really my life. Because music, I used to be a DJ and I used to produce records.
DJ as
People don't
in
know that.
selector or
Yes, a
DJ?
selector.
Okay.
Selector.
Nice.
And my sound system, it was called um, Soul Construction. At the time it was very popular, put it that way. And we used to be very, very active in East Kingston, but everywhere. I mean, we used to play at the university in Mona and in other places. And it's Super Jam. I remember to this day I'm sitting in front of Peter Tosh in the backstage, and just as I'm looking at you, I'm looking at him, and he had on his black gown like thing, and then he had around him a scarf, red, green, and gold scarf, and he had a cross in his hand, right? And he'd always hold on to this cross, and that cross was supposed to chase away vampires. Peter Tosh is a character of no mean other, right? And I'm looking at, and he was just silent, said nothing. I have this look on his face as if he's transported to some far away place. And I remember him. I'm looking at him now backstage, Super Jam, and then he went on to perform. People say it's his best concert ever. I mean, he had just finished his world tour. He never performed again after that, and he had the Mama Africa album was out at the time, and Johnny B. Good was the hit single from the album, and he was on a high. I mean, that concert was just phenomenal. I mean, like you'd never seen, and because of the fact that he's one of these artists was constantly on world tours when he was performing, you didn't see much of him in Jamaica at that time in his career. So he had gotten to a level that people had not seen too much of here. And so when he performed, he just blew everybody away. I mean, you just don't associate, it was just amazing. So I still remember that. I remember the Commodores, we brought the Commodores here on that last tour they did with Lionel Richie, although Richie himself didn't come. When they're at their peak, that time Endless Love was out, the song he did with Diana Ross, and he had done the song Lady for Kenny Rogers, and they done, it was at the height of their career. That was a great
awesome.
concert. And there's so many others, but those are two things that stand out. Yeah.
Listening to you talk about Peter Tosh, it's now bringing it full circle in terms of why even Pulse, you host, the Pulse Complex is where you can find the Peter Tosh Museum. Talk to us about what inspired that decision.
That is one of those things, there are some things in life that are meant to be. You talk about full circle at that concert. And then before Marlene Brown, his companion up to the time of his death, before she started dating Peter, she was in a youth club that I was president of in East Kingston, just after I'd come out of university. And so I knew her. And so Peter was not somebody who got along with everybody. But I don't know, I maybe put some of it to her. I don't know if that's so, but I got along very well with Peter. now somebody I saw every day, but the times I saw him, and so when Peter died, she had these artifacts and various things from his life. And what was happening is that she didn't have anywhere to really store them, and people were, should leave this here and leave that there, and should be losing them. And at one time, they were even selling his M16 guitar on eBay.
I
And we,
remember that.
yeah, and so she asked me to keep, to store them for her, safekeeping, and I did. And out of that emerged the idea of setting up the museum. And I spoke with the Peter's estate with his daughter Nyambe and Brian Latour and them who Brian is the manager of the estate, his son Dave and Marlene and the estate don't have the greatest relationship, but we were able to bring everybody together and to establish a museum, which we all agreed was the best way to honor Peter's legacy. And so that young people and others, both his fans as well as the young, could come and see what Peter was about and his importance. Because Peter is really one of our most important musicians.
Yeah. As the former chairman of Jamaica's Entertainment Advisory Board, what are your views regarding recent talks, that politicians and entertainers contribute to crime and violence in society?
I hope they are not going to be disturbed by, we have some rain, and the rain is falling fairly heavily on the wood shingle roof. So I don't know if you're hearing me clearly. Can you hear me clearly?
I am hearing you clearly, yes.
So you asked about the entertainment board, and what you wanted to know is what were my thoughts in terms of the current state of the industry and what the board is doing.
Well,
I don't know too much of what the board has been doing since the last election. But up to the last election, I was still a member of the board, although I was not chairman. I know this Minister Grange, is out of the music industry, and she understands the industry fairly well, and has tried to do a number of things to enhance the industry and to move things along in a positive way. My big problem with the entertainment board is, first of all, the board is an advisory board. So the board doesn't have any real power. The board can only advise the minister. That's one. The second thing is that there's never any money allocated for any real money for industry development. For example, to this day, we still don't have a venue for concerts in this country. There isn't a single dedicated venue for concerts. A country that produces so much music, right? Because the government, there's no money, right? There is never any money for anything to do with create. I guess I figure we are in the creative industry, so we must create, right? But we need resources to move the industry forward. And a lot of the people with the talent and the ability don't have resources because they come from inner city communities and what have you. And so there are a number of things. So there are a lot of things that you can do without money, and they have been doing a lot of them. But ultimately, for you to have a real moving forward, alive and a prosperous, effective industry, you need resources because you need economic activity, and it can't just be dances alone, So I think that I'd like to see a government come in, whether it is PNP government or JLP government or any government, that is saying, okay, let us move this industry forward, and not just talk, but let's put some money behind it, right? I was doing something for a media house recently, and I spoke about Professor Donald Harris, Kamala Harris's dad, who was responsible for our national industrial policy. A lot of people don't know that. But back in the 90s, or either late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around there. And, he told me when he had just done the document and there was a meeting to of the different sectors to unveil the document, I was responsible for entertainment. And he said, your industry is the industry that can make all the difference to the Jamaican economy. And I've never forgotten that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's some people don't understand it. You see, entertainment and talent is like magic, as I said to people. You know, think about Usain Bolt. He's not in music or so, but he's in sports, but his talent. And before Usain Bolt became a superstar, 5 years before that, he was a student at a country school, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
a country school boy is, in terms of the economic scene, is a non-entity. As a human being, yes, but as a economic force, eh, nothing. In 5 years, you're able to change that to become not only a superstar in terms of talent, but as a major economic force. Because if you look at Usain Bolt and what he has done in terms of just his brand representation around the world and his image and what it does for Jamaica, because if it was
Mm-hmm.
Usain Bolt alone, I imagine there are several tourists who come to Jamaica just because of Usain Bolt, right? And that is just one aspect of the ways in which we benefit. And so you go back to a coffee who nobody knew 4 years ago, or Sean Paul or Shaggy, and you don't have to go to the great Bob Marley or
Mm-hmm.
anybody like that. And you see the sort of economic difference that talent makes, and it's magic because you from nothing to something massive. So if you give free rein to that talent and create an environment in which that talent can flourish, what we call an enabling environment, you can imagine how we could change the nature of Jamaica. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel, but my one of my little suspicions is that there are too many average poor black people who are would be empowered through entertainment, and so nobody really have the time of day for them. And to me, that is such a tragedy and something that needs to be corrected.
Addressed.
And
Mm-hmm.
when I say nobody has the time of day for them, maybe I'm being extreme, because I'm sure there are persons in power, whether in this government or previous governments, who would have wanted to see that change. But the fact of the matter is not enough. And obviously, it hasn't given us the result that we need.
Wow, Mr. Cooper, we're absolutely out of time. In closing, I want you to share with our listeners a piece of advice as it relates to success. What does it take to become successful, or what are the three key ingredients that an individual should be, willing to do, or steps they should be willing to take on that journey?
First of all, you need to decide what it is that you want to accomplish, because everybody's success is a function of what it is they want to achieve, because success relates to your goals. So you decide what it is you want to achieve. And then once you know that, you work hard. So that is one thing, hard work. So first of all, you have to have the vision of what you want to achieve. Then you do the hard work, um, and you persevere, meaning that you don't get daunted by the first obstacle you face, because you're going to have obstacles all the time, all the time. Even when you become a huge success, you still have obstacles, you still have challenges every day. So you have to persevere. Vision, hard work, perseverance. There are lots of other things, but I would say that those are the three things. If you have the vision, you come and develop a plan, so you know how you're going to achieve your dream, and then you work hard towards that that plan you execute, and then you persevere. Don't let nobody tell you what you can or can't do. You just have to know that if you are determined and if you are stubborn and you refuse to quit, that you're going to have a hard road sometimes. But when you're on that hard road, you just think about what you're working towards. What is your dream? What it is that you want to achieve? And that is what
Mm-hmm.
will keep you on that path until you get to where you want to get to.
Wow, Mr. Cooper, thank you so much. This has been fantastic and really awesome. Thank you for taking the time out and taking us on your journey and sharing, so raw and real your experiences and how we can get there and we too can become successful.
thank you for asking me, and I'm glad for the opportunity because this is something we all need to do more of.
Definitely. And on a lighter note, have you ever done karaoke and sing a Ernie Smith song? I think you should.
I've done a little karaoke, but my singing voice is not as good as my talking
Oh,
voice.
you're talking about, okay, got you. All right, thank you so much. Of
Thank
course,
you.
that is indeed Kingsley Cooper CD, chairman of Pulse Investments Limited, as head of Pulse Innovations and first for Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. These include the Caribbean Model Search, Caribbean Fashion Week, the Super Jam Concert Series, the lifestyle TV program Caribbean Fashion Weekly, and the CMS reality TV show. You heard Mr. Cooper on journey on the road to success, vision, hard work, perseverance. Guess what you too can accomplish? Change your mindset now. Do it now. We're about creating generational wealth. Look here, I have to take this Nesbeth from the top again.
It may only be another minute. It may only be another minute. It may only be another minute.